Welcome to ThinkTech Wednesday on the ThinkTech radio series on AM 760 KGU, broadcasting across the islands and raising public awareness in Hawaii. Now here's your host, Jay Fidell.
Okay, it's Wednesday. This is ThinkTech live from downtown Honolulu in the Davies Pacific Center, broadcasting on 760 AM KGU. And we're here with the Wall Street Business Network. Today we're going to talk about apps in Hawaii. You know, we want an active apps community. We want young people to be entrepreneurs and to do startups. And what better way to start a company on a shoestring, if I could say that, than designing smart apps. And today we have with us Chuck Elliot, who's a videographer in his regular life and who is a partner in Tropical Apps, is the name of the company, and his partner Bob Cleaver, who is with Veraznet, I'll get this right, out of Pasadena, but that's his regular life. And his life today, the life we're going to talk about, is these guys doing apps in Tropical Apps. So Bob, say hello.
Hello.
And Chuck, say hello.
How's it going?
All right. So, and let me say also that Chuck is the guy who does the PR and the evangelism, and Bob is the guy that does the apps.
That's right.
Yeah. So
That's
we can
it.
both stay.
Yeah.
All right. But before we get to that, we got a news item that we want to talk about with Aaron Agman regarding an important merger in two trade associations. Aaron, thank you so much for calling in.
My pleasure.
So
Thank
tell
you
us,
for having me.
absolutely, always. We want to keep track of what you do. Now at the end of the year, there are things happening, and as of January 1st, there's going to be a merger of the Association of Information Technology Professionals, AITP, Honolulu chapter here, merging with the Hawaii Telecommunications Association. Everybody's heard of this one, HTCA, to become the Hawaii Information, Communications, and Technology Association, HICTA, for short, HICTA.
That's correct. How does that sound?
I suppose it's good. It's memorable, Aaron, that's for sure. So tell us, why is this happening?
Okay. There are two steps to this merger that has been talked about for several years. One is the fact that the Association of Information Technology Professionals were not getting a lot of support from the mainland, and yet their dues were going to the mainland instead of being used here locally.
Mm-hmm.
The other one has to do with the fact that because of the economy, I think the attendance in a lot of the professional organizations in Hawaii has declined, and it seemed like there was an opportunity to build a stronger organization that was composed of people from both sides. And if I may explain what was the difference. Association of Information Technology Professionals typically had people which came from corporate life, so they were more what we call in the business as enterprise folks. And then at the Hawaii Telecommunications Association, we had more telecom folks who were involved with providing telecommunication services.
So what's the mission of the merged company?
So the mission is really to create a nice environment from folks from telecom providers and the end users that manage and run corporate networks and corporate IT shops to get them together to find speakers that will be of interest to both. And be beyond a networking organization and a professional organization, that it will actually also give back to the community via philanthropic endeavors, and also help with the younger generation that is trying to get into the field by cultivating interest in information and communications technology.
That's great, Iran. Really happy to hear it. You know, these associations are so important to be a networking opportunity, bring people together, you know, make jobs known and available. So when is the next meeting? Where can we go to find out more about it?
Okay, the next meeting will be in January, and it will be at the Plaza Club. The date has not been formed yet. We are working on that as we're merging the two boards together. We are going to work on the on that. But
so if I want to know, where do I go? Where do I go to find out about the next meeting? Where do I check in?
It will be at www.hicta.org.
All right, looking forward.
www.icta.org.
Thank you, Iran. Great to have you on the show. Appreciate the report. Look forward to following the story and seeing you at the next meeting. Congratulations and take care.
Happy holidays to you and your listeners.
Thank you, Iran. Aloha.
Aloha.
So we now have a piece of news from Richung Fujihira, who is with Box Jelly, one of the founders on Kamani Street. And the reason this is relevant to our show is because not 2 weeks ago, there was a meeting of Hancelerator, a bunch of apps developers on Kamani Street competing and winning awards and prizes and cash money. What happened, Richung?
Oh, it was great. We had an event called Hancelerator. Hancelerator was put on by the city and county of Honolulu, and it was basically a hackathon that lasted pretty much throughout the whole month. There were cash prizes. We had a lot of really great apps coming out, both for web apps. We had one of the winning apps, I think it was the third place app, was a Windows mobile app, which was pretty interesting. And it was pretty cool because what they do is they take open data from the government, and then they figure out ways where they could use that to create some kind of value for the people of the island. And it turned out really well. And I think they might be doing some other accelerators in the future. Be a high accelerator. Yeah. Yeah,
great. Well, the Box Jelly is the place to be. It's the hub of all this activity. You must be proud as a proud father that these guys choose to come down to Kamani Street and share their event with you, huh?
Yeah, I feel very, very lucky that we're able to host so many great people, and just seeing the development of the ecosystem, over the past year and a half that we've been open has been pretty amazing.
Well, so how much money passed hands with all these prizes and awards on December 1st?
Sure. Yeah. So the first prize went out, and it went to Ben Trevino and his team, and they were doing a budget app for the city budget, and they got $5,000.
Wow.
I think the second place team got $2,000, and the third place team got $1,000. So it was a pretty good prizes, and you had a lot of great competition. I was talking to the judges after the competition, and they said it was really, really hard to choose even just like the top three, let alone 1, 2, 3. Yeah, it was.
That's great.
Cool.
That's great. So you were working on, rolling out your new premises, all remodeled and brand new. I guess the job was done, and you were celebrating the completion of your renovations, eh?
We're just about done. There's a few things left. It's been quite a journey. It was a lot harder than we expected, but it's coming together nicely. I think we should be done pretty soon. We just put in the new kitchen, so we got to utilize that.
Great. So when's your next event?
Our next event will be on the 19th at 5:30, and we're doing an info session for Blue Startups, which is a speed accelerator that is founded by Mike Rogers. And, we're going to be doing a info session for that. That's on the 19th, on Wednesday, 1 week from today.
Public invited?
Public is invited. Please come down if you're interested in learning more about these accelerators that you've probably been hearing so much about. The 12-week program, it's like the new business school / investing method / way to get your business out of your mind and, into the real world. Then I suggest you can come down and you can see how you can get that $20,000 and the connections you need to make it happen.
I'm ready. Might be somebody else too out there who might be ready. So I'm going to check up on. I could check up on this on boxjelly.com. Was that a good guess?
Yes, www.theboxjelly.com, or our Facebook page, or www.bluestartups.com.
All right, outstanding, Richang. Thanks so much for being on the show.
All right, thank you. Take care.
Aloha.
All right, bye.
Bye. Okay, you guys. Now that we've seeded this discussion with the importance of trade associations and groupings, and with the fact that the city is involved and somebody's giving cash money for doing apps. On that note, on that high note, we're going to take a break. But when we come back, we're going to want you to tell us everything about your new app, Monkey Messages. Wow. We'll be right back after this break. Stay there. Okay.
You're listening to ThinkTech Radio's Technology and Media Wednesday with your host, Jay Fidell of Bendit Fidell Attorneys at Law.
Okay, we're back. Thank you, Leah Rodriguez, our board operator, for making this happen. We're back. We're live. We're ThinkTech. We're talking about making apps in Hawaii, and especially Monkey Messages, with the two principals of tropical apps, namely Chuck Elliot and Bob Cleaves. Bob, can you give us, or was it Chuck? Whatever, whoever wants to talk about this.
You go first.
We'll fight over it.
Tell us about Monkey Messages. What is it, and why should I care?
Okay, so Monkey Message is a hands-free texting app which uses text-to-speech and voice recognition technology. And basically what it does is it's available on the Android platform. I got to throw that in there. Not yet on the iOS, but we're working on that. But anyway, so how it works is you receive an incoming text, and your phone, your Android phone, will wake up and speak the text out loud to you, and will ask you if you'd like to reply. And you speak directly into the phone, and our voice recognition technology is very cutting edge. So unless you're standing next to a jet or in a concert, it should pick up your message pretty clearly, and it'll ask you to confirm it, and it'll send it back to your contact.
If you have any questions, you want to get into a conversation with these guys, you can call us at 296-5467. 296-5467. And if you had Monkey Message, I suppose that would be easier while you're driving. And we'll talk about that. Or you can text Bob Cleaves at 285-0184. That's 285-0184. That's what people don't want.
No profanity, because
no profanity, but that's what the people who don't want to have their voice on the radio. Right. If you want your voice on the radio, the first number, 296-5467. So, talking about driving, it sounds like this program, this app, is dedicated to solving a problem. Bob, what's the problem it's dedicated to solving?
Well, there's been a huge problem with people using their phones while they're driving, and that's talking and texting and browsing and interneting and tweeting and basically anything and everything they do at home. We're focused on just solving one of those problems, and that's texting while driving. The idea isn't that we want to promote texting while driving, but if you're gonna do it safely, do it hands-free. Our app lets you do that. Basically, message comes in, it converts a text, lets you reply, and a text goes out. So whoever you're communicating with doesn't need the app. They're just sending and receiving straight SMS.
Oh, I see. So now you get a message on your phone. It wakes up and it talks to you. It uses a voice engine.
Yes.
And it tells you in some kind of robotic voice, I suppose, but accurately, you're saying. It's a good engine. It tells you what the text says.
Yeah, do you want to hear it?
Yeah.
Okay. So, I'm using my hands right now just to demo it, but there's a couple control features on here. It'll play the last text, play your last email, or allow you to directly reply without listening. So hopefully I don't have a...
Hope it's clean. Keep it clean, boys. Right. This is family station here.
Message from Dustin. Message is, "What's up, Bobby? Any waves? I'm in a meeting for a bit and can text but not talk. Do you want to reply?
No.
And it goes back as text.
Yeah.
Who's that woman?
Who's that woman?
Yeah.
The voice pack.
Yeah.
I'm using a voice package.
I want to meet her, yeah.
That's an interesting segue. We've got over 20 different languages and different male and female. That was my UK female voice. So if you want to hear that exact same message, but in a different voice,
do it for us.
Do you want to hear it in US, UK, Australian, Spanish, Chinese, Korean, Japanese? Chinese male or female?
Female.
Okay. Say last. Do you know Mandarin?
No, I wish I did. But we do have people here that do, so we'll be watching.
Okay. So now it's gonna do a couple of things.
It's going to be in Mandarin?
In Mandarin translated.
To English?
No. Now I've selected the Mandarin. Oh, you know what? It won't convert it to. The text is too long.
Okay, well, do something that you can demo. Another voice.
How about Spanish male? Let's try that.
Okay.
Mensaje de Dustin. El mensaje es, ¿qué es Bobby? Las olas. Estoy en una reunión un poco y puede el texto pero no hablar. ¿Desea responder?
No.
Was that a no in Spanish?
No, it actually does. It changes the dialect on the outbound as well.
Oh, so it can. So if somebody is speaking Spanish, it will translate that and send back as a text message in English.
In English, yes.
That's pretty powerful stuff.
Yeah.
And this all lives on your Android?
Well, we're using a couple of services, the iSpeech library, and we're using some inherent Google services too. But yeah, the app is completely standalone.
So I'm driving along. I get a sound, an alarm that there's a text message, and I will automatically hear the message without more. I will hear the message in English as my chosen language, and then I will respond in English, and it will go back into text.
Right, and the really cool thing, if someone on the other side had it set up to Spanish or French or Japanese, you could communicate with someone else who doesn't speak English, and it will translate back and forth. So we see a huge appeal with people that have foreign contacts, business associates, girlfriends overseas, et cetera, and it works for voice, for text and email.
You gotta do Pigeon also.
Yeah,
we're working
next
on that.
version, 2.0.
Well, that is quite remarkable, and that does get by. I mean, if you're just putting it down on the phone on the seat, or putting it on one of those suction devices on your windshield, you're never touching it, and that's what the ordinance is calculated to punish: those who touch the device.
Right.
So this doesn't require any touching; it's all automated. That's impressive.
Yeah, that was the #1 requirement, completely hands-free.
Yeah, and that was a ticket of 147 American.
Yep.
How much is that in Spanish pesetas?
Don't have that app written yet.
Okay, well.
That's my next app.
That's pretty impressive. This is the first app you guys have designed.
No, actually we've worked on a couple other apps, and Monkey Message actually spawned from another application that we're still in the works with, and but yeah, Bobby's been he's been doing this thing full time now for many years, and it's what he does. He's really good at his job. He's one of the best engineers that I've ever met. So.
Well, that's appropriate for your partner. You would settle for nothing less, I expect.
Oh, of course not. Yeah.
Well, the reason why we met is he heard that I was doing apps, and he had an app idea through a mutual friend, and we did that app, put that one out there, and just forgot about it, and came back 6 months later. We're getting downloads. Just it's one of those things you don't think is going to go anywhere, and slowly the numbers keep growing. It's a free app, but it's it's interesting.
So let me, just for the benefit of those who haven't been through this, Do we have a call, Leah? Okay. For the benefit of those who haven't been through this, you design this on your PC.
Correct.
Right? You don't design it on the smartphone.
No.
You design it on your PC, and you sort of simulate the operation of the app on your PC. And then when you're ready, you upload it somewhere. Where do you upload it to?
You upload it via USB cable to your handset. So that's been another challenge, is getting it to work not just on my handset, but on Chuck's and on other versions of the Android OS.
Yeah, so there's all these flavors that you get.
Gingerbread,
and they're all different.
ice cream sandwich,
systems.
froyo, and they all are a little bit different. And then the manufacturers themselves can tweak the OS a little bit. So that's
so I can see you with a PC and a bunch of cell phones all around you. You connect one after the other and make sure that your latest change actually works on all those flavors.
Yeah, it's 1% development and another 110% testing. So
that's what Thomas Edison said.
Exactly.
I guess he had good advice in that. So how much does it cost for me? I mean, is this on there right now, Bob?
Right now.
So I can turn off the radio, or not even turn off the radio.
You could download it right now if you have a Android phone.
Okay, and all I got to do is search for Monkey Message.
Yep, we're the first one that comes up, and there's a free version. So you can try the free version doesn't have the language translation feature. That was a lot of work. So we charged 99 cents for the pro version.
That's the big time.
That's the big time. We're trying to get the word out and keep people from running over each other and getting tickets and stuff like that. So there's apps out there that they're charging a lot more. 99 cents is 99 cents.
So what's the platform for writing the code? What language do you use? It's a regular SDK software development kit, and what is it like?
Well, the reason why I got into this was I've been a Java developer for 15 years, and I went to a conference.
You don't look that old. Let the record reflect he doesn't look that old.
I'm older than I look. But I went to a conference, and they talked about doing Android development, which is based on the Java platform. And I saw a demo of how to get started, your Hello World on Android. And I started thinking about the numbers. You're talking about 1 million new activations a day on the Android side. And we wanted to do the app on the iOS side too, but they do not allow you to put your hands into the inbox, the SMS inbox. They don't allow you to intercept. They don't allow you to touch that stuff. So the current iOS doesn't allow you to do that. But then anyway, I went to the seminar, went home, played around with a program called Eclipse, which is a development environment that has some plugins for writing Android apps. And just my friend, another friend of mine, wanted to do an app, and so I said, okay, let's go for it. And that one's up to 30,000 downloads now or something.
Not bad. How much do you make on every 99 cents?
Yeah, we get 70%, Google gets 30.
Oh, that's not bad. So the better part of $1 anyway. If you have 30,000 coming on a given day, that'd be a nice day, wouldn't it?
That would be great, but that one's free too.
Okay, we're gonna take a moment of freedom here and have a short break. We have Chuck Elliot and Bob Cleaves of Tropical Apps. We're talking about building apps, making apps in Hawaii. We'll be right back.
760 KGU.
Part of the Wall Street Business Network.
You're listening to ThinkTech Radio's Technology and Media Wednesday with your host, Jay Fidell of Bendit Fidell Attorneys at Law.
Okay, we're back. We're live. We're ThinkTech. We're Wednesday. And we're Monkey Message, namely making apps in Hawaii with Chuck Elliot and Bob Cleaves. And guess what? We have a caller, Marie from Hawaii Kai. Hi, Marie. Thanks for calling the show.
Oh, hi. Thank you for letting me ask my question.
Absolutely. Sail ahead. Give us your question or comment.
I was interested in just knowing, was there a limit to how long the text message could be using the app?
That's a great question. And in fact, that came up in the demo a few minutes ago. And I think, Bob, that's yours.
Yeah, so the standard limitations for SMS apply. So when you're sending a text out, you've got 140 characters, but if you send out a longer message, what the SMPP protocol does is it breaks that into chunks of 140. What Monkey will do on the back end is assemble all those PDUs up into one big message and play that. If you've got multiple messages coming in that are bigger than that, it'll queue them up and play them sequentially. The problem I was having with the Mandarin message is, and this is kind of an interesting thing, is how do you determine word length when you're talking about Chinese characters?
Yeah, right. How can you say 140 characters?
Yeah. So, you know, we're still trying to figure that one out.
Well, you know, maybe you could have some other routine to sort of summarize it.
Yeah, there you
however
go.
long it is. Or take the first X seconds in which you could expect that 140 characters would be covered.
Yeah, the problem is the engine that we're using to turn the text into speech doesn't work with characters, it works with words. So now you're saying, okay, your max limitation words, how do you equate that to number of Chinese characters? But yeah, they're, you know, the easy thing to do is just chop it off.
Yeah.
Say, okay.
These are great problems to have, aren't
Sure.
they? It's like challenging, sexy problems.
Well, no one's done it yet, so
Yeah.
hopefully we'll be the first.
So, Marie, what do you think about his answer? Were you satisfied? We give him a 10 or a 9 or an 8? What do you give him?
I'll give him a 9.
Thank you.
Thank you, Marie from Hawaii. I appreciate the call.
Thank you for taking the call.
Okay. All right, so going to you now, Chuck Elliott. It falls on you to make the world know about this, and I'm sure you're very interested in getting on the radio, for example, and telling everybody that all they got to do is search for Monkey Mouse, and they could find this really interesting app. But what else are you doing to get the word out?
Well, I mean, Jay, you just threw a huge responsibility on my shoulders, and it's kind of intimidating. But anyway. Well, you know how I am. I hit you up probably 3 or 4 different times on email, called you a bunch of times.
Very effective. That's why you're here today.
Right.
You know, there's 2 kinds of people in the world. One is the kind that follow through, and then there's all the others.
Right. Well, the thing about Monkey Message is that when Bobby came to me and said, "Hey, look, this is you know, an idea that I came up with, spawning off of a previous app that we were developing," I instantly believed in it because of the magnitude and the amount of good that it would do in saving lives, preventing accidents, and just I mean, having a practical app that people can use on a daily basis. It's easy to use. It's very, very user friendly. Like Bobby has mentioned, the language pack, it's a huge benefit to having this application because now you can communicate with your contacts internationally from native tongue to native tongue.
Yeah, this is definitely a global program.
Yeah, exactly.
So you know, the thing is, my sense of it, and you can correct me otherwise, is the cost of actually writing this app. I mean, aside from the cost of thought process and the cost of pizza while you're having the thought process, is minimal because the software developer kit you download on Android as on iPhone is free. Right. So what you got to do is have the knowledge and the time to sit there at the computer and make that thing work. Even the voice engines, I guess, are free. You can download them too and use them as programming elements.
They're free to a certain extent, yeah.
Certain extent, okay. If you go beyond a certain point, you have to pay. But all that, it's not a lot of capital investment.
No.
And so you guys are operating, I guess, out of your own pockets and credit cards and family and friends and all that
recycling cans and bottles and stuff like that,
Yeah, right. I'm sure I'll see you on the highway. Yeah. But then you get into the question of how we get the word out, and that could cost money. If you use social media, you can advance it essentially free. But if you want to take an ad in the Star Advertiser, that's a different ballgame. So are you advancing this through social media? What are you doing?
Well, up to this point, we've explored our options for TV broadcasting on several platforms, both locally and nationally. I've sent out probably over 100 press releases to different publications all over the United States, some in Europe and some in South America and Brazil area.
I knew you were relentless, but this is getting ridiculous.
Well, I mean, it just comes back down to the belief in the app, and I think you know, if you try out this app, then you'll really see firsthand how much of a great app it is, and how much of a benefit it is to be communicating while you're driving. And so this is, yeah.
Yeah, that's great. So it doesn't cost you anything, by the way, to actually upload it to the platform where I can pull it down on the Android?
To get started with Google Merchant account is $25 for life.
That's it?
That's it.
For life?
For life, yeah.
So,
and then you're golden.
Wow.
You can start
put the
collecting
certificate
money
on your wall and all this? And
yeah, sure. You can do that.
And then you can do as many apps as you want.
Yep.
Do they vet you in some way? In other words, you know, for example, I mean, like the PC, the Android is like an open platform, and you could put some real bad things, malicious things up there.
There's a
Do they look
waiver.
at it to be sure that you're not doing that?
Yeah, there's a definite checks and balances there. If you sign the waiver that you comply, and they find out that you're doing something you're not supposed to be doing, they'll shut you down right away.
Yeah. So they do control it.
Yeah.
Google's like that, control.
Yeah, they have some control, but they're not as strict as Apple. Apple makes it, you know, they won't upload your app if it's trivial, you know, for example, or they won't upload it if it doesn't adhere to a certain standard. Whereas with Google, you can push anything up there. One of the first apps I did was for my daughter. She's 3 years old at the time, and it was just a bunch of pictures of animals, and you click the picture and it plays the animal sound or whatever. You know, it's like
that was trivial.
Right, but you know, Google let me push it up. They don't care. So
now, when you put the app up on the Google server for Android download, you have search words, right? So can you put in search words beyond the name of the app? Like,
sure.
Okay, if I search for monkey message, I'm sure I'll find it. But what if I search for texting, you know, or driving or something? Will I be able to find it in other vectors that way?
Yeah, there's a section on your product page that has a description, and it has a section for latest features and revisions. And I'm pretty sure they search on those keywords.
This is a question for both of you guys. Does the industry in Hawaii, call it the apps development industry, and to the extent that industry is connected, does it know about your app? Do you get calls and letters saying, "Wow, you guys, tell me how you did that"? And is there competition? Are there guys who want to know what you're doing so they can emulate it?
Well, I think we were fortunate enough to be featured on the news. Hawaii News Now did a feature of Tim Sakahara, which we're very, very appreciative for.
He's a good guy, Sakahara.
Yeah, he is. He's a really good guy. And this was a couple months ago. And after our feature, we did experience a bit of a spike. And you know how it is, Jay. I mean, this city it's a small town. We know a lot of developers, and of course, I mean, Bobby, he's been around for a while in this industry, so he's I'd say pretty well known in the industry. So yeah.
Yeah, the guys that I know are Apple guys. So
they're different kind of people, aren't they? They're not the same as us here at this table.
No,
Everybody here at this table is an Android.
But yeah, the guys that I talk to, they're really excited about the technology, and it goes to that level, and then they're like, well, we can't do that on the Apple side. So then the conversation changes to something else.
Yeah, just let me segue on that for a minute. You said before that Apple didn't allow you to get into the inbox. But could there come a time, I mean, could you ask them nicely, send them flowers at Christmas, and ask them if they'd please let you inside so you could do this great app on iPhone 2?
Yeah, a lot of the stuff that they prevent makes sense, but preventing a developer from being able to send and receive messages out of their sandbox, I don't really, it doesn't really make sense why they would do that.
It's one of the reasons that Android is so successful.
Probably.
It's open architecture as opposed to that proprietary thing in Apple.
Yeah.
It's some concern, and you know the number of apps for Android is rapidly approaching the number of apps for iPhone, and may actually exceed it.
Yeah, the latest statistic that we saw was there's currently 500 million active Android apps right now, and that will double by the end of 2013. So you're
I'm happy. This
well.
makes me feel good. I have my Galaxy S3.
Perfect.
An ice cream, which I like ice cream anyway, and so I'm very happy with my. Even though this doesn't, you know, deal with the crash test as well as the aluminum case on the iPhone, this my Galaxy S3 is a wonderful phone.
Yeah, they're good. They're good units.
What do you guys have?
I have 6 phones.
Yeah, we have a bunch of phones.
And they all work? And they're all connected? It must cost you a fortune for them.
It's write once, test. You know.
Sure.
Yeah.
Where do you work, at home? You got an office? You got a corporate property somewhere?
I work out of my living room.
Yeah, I have a home office as well. Both. We live pretty close to each other, so
okay, that's great.
Stone's throw away.
So someday you'll get to the garage stage. But
Right.
But what about venture capital? I mean, do you need, as you see this thing unfolding, do you need venture capital? Do you see a time when you want angel funding or venture capital? Is this project going to take you into big money investment? You don't have to answer now because we have a break now, and this will give you a chance to sort of get your answers straight and coordinate your answers so that they are essentially the same answer between the two of you. That's Chuck Elliott and Bob Cleaves of Tropical Apps. We're talking about Monkey Message. We're ThinkTech Hawaii, broadcasting from downtown Honolulu, and yes, we will be right back.
You're listening to ThinkTech Radio's Technology and Media Wednesday with your host, Jay Fidell of Bendit Fidell Attorneys at Law.
Okay, we're back. We're live. We're ThinkTech. We're on Wednesday. We're talking to Chuck Elliott and Bob Cleaves of Tropical Apps, making apps in Hawaii, particularly Monkey Message, a really interesting sounding app. You guys worry about other people catching up with you and you know, taking your idea away from you, or you know, sort of overcoming you?
I think we're staying ahead of the curve.
Yeah, we're definitely staying ahead of the curve, especially now since we included the auto translate in our voice pack. There's not another application out there that does exactly what we're trying to accomplish. I mean, if you Google text apps, I mean, there's probably, I don't even know, Bobby, how many do you think? A lot, a lot of different types of apps, but they all work differently and are there for, you know, they have different features and stuff. But Monkey Message, you know, allows you to, you know, communicate completely hands-free. Yeah. And that's huge.
So how do you keep ahead? I mean, one, in order to, it's like prior art for patent examination. You got to know what the prior art is. You got to know who's competing. You got to know what they're doing. How do you stay in touch to be able to answer that question? How do you know who's doing what around the world, right? We're talking around the world.
Yeah, the only way I can do that is to be diligent and see what's out there, see what our competition's like.
On the web. You're looking on the web?
On the Google Marketplace. Yeah,
oh, okay, because it'll all be right there.
Sure.
So you keep on searching to see if anything's popping up.
And you'll always get hits on bloggers. Okay, what are the best top 5 texting apps, blah, blah, blah. And so there's a lot of information that you can find there. And so you see what the competition's doing, and then you weigh that against your set of functions, and you kind of just say, okay, if they start getting closer, we got to think of, okay, what's next? How do we improve this? We've been talking to...
You don't want to talk about that right now, though.
Not right now.
What your next step is.
Yeah.
There's only a few people listening, so
they
they will keep it as confidential as you want them to keep it.
Yeah, no, that's a huge part of it too. But we're talking to guys over at Moby PCS, and they have certain functions that they'd like to add on, and et cetera, and AT&T, Daimler-Benz. We've got contacts in Europe and stuff. So we're always getting feedback.
Yeah.
So there's always.
So if you had to, so if you do get control of this area, and the word gets out, my question from before the break, and you need to sort of ramp up in some way, in the apps business, okay, which is a wonderful business actually, because the cost of entry is so small. Will you need venture capital ultimately if this app is successful?
Well, Jay, at the moment we are actually working with a couple private investors, and we're trying to come to agreements on the business side of it all. But most definitely, I think at this point we're pretty happy with the application and its features, and this is after 6 months of working on this thing every day, beta testing, refining, and
you don't need the money, or you do?
Oh well, I mean,
why do you need the money if the cost of entry is so?
Well, yeah.
Bob here doesn't mind. He doesn't mind working till 2 in the morning. He's okay with that.
The thing about it, I mean, of course, you're gonna need seed money to.
He said yes.
That's the truth.
Well, we're gonna need seed money to get it to where we want it to be for the mass market, which is, I mean, it's quite relevant for the language pack, which is within the application itself. So to answer your question, yes, we are open to venture capitalist money, and we're, I mean, obviously it comes back down to finding the right people though that believe in the product, so that it becomes more successful. We can grow together and
no pressure, Chuck. But that's your job, Chuck.
right.
We'll expect to see dramatic, amazing things from you.
Done a lot of work. He's not going into detail, but he's spent a ton of time getting a business plan, a deck together that we've gone to different people, and they're looking at it right now. We did an analysis when we did have our news segment. It was a small segment, 90 seconds, 120 seconds, and then we saw the spike after that, so we can extrapolate what kind of nibbles we would get if we did blow it up to the mass market. And Chuck went out and talked to the Time Warner guys and the radio guys and found out, okay, how much would it cost us to put this out there, and it's all in the works.
Yeah. So. Well, where I get stuck is, you have what sounds like a mature app. Maybe you'll have another version in a few months. It'll be that much better, but it's marketable right now. So aside from the work that it will take you to make another version, smooth out some rough edges, whatever it may be, you're essentially completed here. And so the question, but what you said before, I think is really relevant. That is, this is for texting. And guys like me, we do, email, we're old-fashioned. And we have wristwatches, too, I'll tell you that right now. We have, we do email.
What time is it?
It's a contest, right? See who can find out the time quicker, yeah? I can tell you right now, we have 57 clocks here in the studio.
You see that.
But I guess my point is that texting, it can only grow. The younger generation comes up, they believe more in texting than anything else. So the solution, the application that you have created, rides the wave, an increasing wave, a wave that can only, go logarithmically out to the world.
Right.
And so why can't you, you alluded to this earlier, why can't you be the texting apps company, specializing in apps around testing, facilitating texting in every way, leveraging texting. And so you have a suite now of apps, and then you need some money, I think. You're already a company with an array of products. Then you need some money for that. Is this your thinking? Tell me what your thinking is going forward.
Well,
you want another break? Take another break if you want.
Chuck's working on the next business plan.
Right.
Another app that is it's.
Well, we don't want to give it away too much.
Yeah, it's not necessarily another texting app per se, but it is a related product. I've got several ideas for other related products, but yeah, that if we could come up with a suite of products that would form the foundation for a larger business then yeah, that makes a lot of sense. But yeah, we're still growing, and we're still in the early stages of putting this all together.
Well,
so.
put it this way. I mean, if this product that you have, Monkey Message, is essentially mature,
Yeah.
Then presumably, you know, for Forward Motion, you're working on something else. So you don't have to tell me what it is. Don't tell me what it is. Don't tell me the code name even. Just tell me, just acknowledge for me that you are working on the next app, right?
Yep.
Oh, absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely. Most definitely.
No, we're just talking about it on the car ride over.
Right.
Okay. So I have to stop my questions on that, is that right? Okay, so, and I want to know what you think the future of all of this is, the future of apps. I mean, do you have a vision of that? Can you tell me what you think is going to happen with guys like you? And furthermore, guys like you here in Hawaii. Do we have a real apps industry, or are you guys, you know, the exception to a rule that the tech industry isn't doing all that well?
Well, I think it's growing. I mean, obviously, you know, we have a pretty cool little community out in where we're at in Hawaii Kai, of, you know, some geeks and some nerds that are developing and you know, actually, you know, getting the ball rolling with their app projects. And I would just say, if there's anybody out there that has ideas like this, I would encourage them to move forward with it, because hey, you never know. I mean, 6 months ago, this was just an idea, and now look where we're at. I mean, we're sitting next to you, Jay.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Well, anybody who does that can't be all bad, right? Well, I think it's great you do what you do, and I think it's wonderful that we have people like you guys who are entrepreneurs and startups and so creative. What's your advice to the young fellow who's in your who's 6 months, you know, who is doing what you were doing before 6 months ago? What do you say to him about getting into this?
You know what? That's a great question. You can't fail if you don't try. You can't succeed either. So whether or not you think you've got the next $1 million app, or you just think it would be cool to write this app and I'll be the only one that uses it and maybe it'll be fun to do, just do it. You never know. You throw your hook in the water and eventually you're going to get, you know, a nibble, and maybe you'll land the big shark. You never know.
It's easy for you to say that, Bob, but you know, you have, how many was it, 37 years of experience on this thing?
50 something, or what was it?
Whatever it is. Now, if I'm, you know, if I'm Joe who just graduated from high school or is still in high school, and I have this, you know, dream of doing what you guys are doing, getting into the big time, as it were, I got to train myself up. So I need you to tell this young fellow we're talking to how to train up, how to learn what you know about making apps.
The best resource that that I know of for doing this kind of development is from the horse's mouth. Go to Google. They invented Android. They've got so many tutorials out there. They've got loads and loads of free samples. So you could basically look at what's out there already and kind of put your own ideas together based on kind of like building blocks, and come up with your own kind of unique application with very little effort.
Anybody can do it, right?
Sure.
Chuck Elliot, Bob Cleaves, Tropical Apps, Monkey Message. You heard it here on ThinkTech. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Jay, for having us. We appreciate it.
Aloha, everyone. We'll be back tomorrow with Asia in Review and David Day.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays. Thank you, guys.